Okay, so today I'm going to try to fix this SNES console. It's been in storage for quite a while, so I think it might just need a cleaning.
Oh boy, something for me to clean up.
It's pretty grungy on the outside, and yeah, the problem is when you turn it on, the screen does that little flashy thing where you can tell something's going to happen, and then nothing happens.
Oh, yes, I see what you mean.
So I'm thinking either it just needs a cleaning because it's not getting a good connection here, or the reset might be stuck in a perpetual reset, or there's a little copyright protection chip somewhere in here, and that can also, if it goes bad, it might think every single cartridge is a bad cartridge. So first step is to take this thing apart and see what's going on.
Let's just get this over with.
I don't want to scratch it up. These are Nintendo's little protection screws. Never took one of these apart before, but the screwdrivers are extremely cheap. So I'd rather just buy the screwdrivers than use that pen method, which the pen method should work just fine from what I've seen, but anywho. Also, another thing to look out for in any electronic device is the age of capacitors. If there's a leaking capacitor, we should replace that, and that might just do it. But anywho, you don't know till you crack it open. Alright, well that's pretty straightforward. So that's our reset. Looks like there's some food in here, which, you know, that could be something. There's, looks like one of the capacitors was replaced, but I think this is in pretty good condition. This is I think this is the mid-range, not the first. I think this is the second released console revision, because it doesn't have the detachable sound chips. These are the two Nintendo, Sony. Thought they oh, that was the next console that they had a little fight about. Anywho, you have two sound chips here. I think the third revision only has one of these sound chips. Anywho, let's keep taking this apart. Now, this is good. The switch, I know for a fact, is working because the little indicator light turns on. Maybe this needs to be reseated. And since this is, I believe, revision 2, it means this should just be able to be unplugged, and if this socket is in fact bad, you should be able to just pull that out, put in a new one, or pull it out, clean it, put it back in. But like I said, I've never taken one of these apart before, but let's see. There we go. Well, I thought, come on. There we go. Oh yeah, there's little pieces of debris all over this thing. Let's just put that aside. Kind of want to test this switch here. Let's see, let's get a... I should really clean my workstation. Let's see if I can find an appropriate screwdriver. I should do it. All right. Let's see if this just pops up. I think it will. Or maybe not. Looks like it might be soldered in, but anyway, let's keep taking stuff off and see where we end up. This should just pull out. There we go. Tempted to take this thing out and hose it. It's pretty grimy.
Good old grimy.
Now I think the chip right there is the copyright chip, to see if it's a real copy of the game you're trying to play. But I'm not sure. It looks like this capacitor has been changed before, and I think this might have been I think my wife's sister bought this console from GameStop, and they might have messed with it. Oh, we got a little bug in there. Tons of flux, which isn't great, but isn't bad. You know, I really think this just comes right out. But you don't want to force anything. Then this... Man, it sure looks like it can come right out. Let's see if this comes off. Looks like that slides in there. It's got a lot of crud in it. Sure looks like it can come right out. Doesn't look too grimy. There's quite a bit of flux spillover here and here. Let's see if we can test this reset switch, because I'm thinking it might be in a perpetual reboot with this reset switch if it's not working correctly. If I can't find anything too wrong with it, I think I'm just going to spray it down with some electronics cleaner and fire it back up, see what happens. Let's see. See if I can get this thing to... There we go. That's pushing it. I'm going to say that switch works. And I'm also going to say this capacitor over here was changed out. This one right in here. Because the leads are a little long. And the type of capacitor looks a little too new. But, you know, this says RGB. Yeah. Well, I don't know too much of what I'm looking at here because, like I said, I never messed with one before. Let's just give it a clean and see what happens, I guess. Let's find some electronics cleaner. Okay, so I'm back. I washed this down just a little bit, and then I sprayed it with compressed air to get most of the water off. Little tiny bit of water really shouldn't hurt any of this, and I'm sure there's people out there that's gonna scream at me about that. But I think it'll be okay. What I am going to do is I got a new can of electronics cleaner. I'm going to spray it into this port right here, because that's where I think the biggest problem is the card reader. That should be about all I'm going to do to this thing. So let's see if I can remember how to put it back together. All right, so this should go in something like that. I'm going to clean this a little more. Because again, I've heard Nintendo likes to use, I mean, they're really resourceful on what they can get away with, but I mean, come on, just run a trace, make the board just a little bit bigger, and run a nice big ground along the entire board. I don't know if this revision has that problem, but I'd rather deal with it now than later. Actually, I'm gonna get a wire brush after this. Let's just move that for a second. This'll do. There's a little bits of corrosion where this part meets the socket, and if for some crazy reason the socket's getting a crucial ground from this, or something else is getting a crucial ground from that, I'd rather just be safe and get a wire brush after this. Alright, so that should do something like that. Now what I like to do when I'm putting in screws into plastic or any sort of material that it could really, you could strip it out, the plastic or wood or what have you, is when I'm putting the screw in, I like to go backwards first and then go forwards. That way, when I feel that the old groove is lined up with the threads, then I know I'm not going to strip anything out. And you know what I just realized I didn't put in? There's that little piece of metal right there.
I don't feel anything emotionally except for rage.
And I have a feeling it's right there. So I got to take these screws out.
Well, good luck with that.
I'm actually really pleased that they decided to use a fairly generic switch here. Yeah, it's a nice hefty one. So who knows how often that goes out, but I'd imagine not that often. Alright. Now this thing, the ejector. Alright, that looks about right. Man, that's not... I bet Nintendo has better quality control than this cheap screwdriver does. If we weren't in lockdown, I'd go down to the bolt store and get different bolts and just change them out to save whoever has to take this thing apart next. Because, you know, Nintendo knows that people are going to take these things apart. They do. Just be nice if they could save us some headache. Okay. That should be good to go. Let's see if it works.
And before you go, we can do your favorite thing.